Hello and welcome to my channel. Today is Tuesday, which means it's time for True Crime Tales. As always, content warning, it gets graphic, it gets violent, it gets gross, as per usual, because none of these people are normal. So with that being said, let's just dive into it. It's not a super long one, but Benjamin Thomas Atkins, also known as the Woodward Corridor Killer, was an American serial killer and rapist who murdered, tortured, and raped 11 women in Highland Park in Detroit, Michigan, during a period of 8 months between December 1991 and August of 92. He was apprehended after being arrested for rape charges, and soon after he confessed to the murders. He was ultimately found guilty and given several life sentences in April of 94. He died from AIDS in 97. Benjamin Tony Atkins was born on August 26, 1968 in Detroit, the younger of two sons. His family lived in a poor neighborhood, and both of his parents were drug addicts and alcoholics. Shortly after his birth, Tony's father left the family. In 1970, Benjamin's mother abandoned him, and he wound up in an orphanage where he spent his childhood and youth. While living there, he was physically assaulted by other children, and at the age of 10, was raped by one of the employees. Over the next 5 years, he was continuously subjected to sexual harassment by other boys until he eventually escaped and reunited with his mother. For some time, he lived together with her and his older brother, but one day he realized that his mother worked as a prostitute. Due to this, both he and his brother saw her have sex with clients at the house on several occasions. Disgusted with his mother's actions, he left the house again in the late 80s, living on the streets and doing drugs, and eventually developed a drug addiction. Because he lacked formal education, Atkins was forced to work in low-skilled labor jobs for low wages and spent the night at homeless shelters. In his free time, he frequented places inhabited by pimps and prostitutes, but was never arrested for any serious crimes. Most of his acquaintances claimed to be very fond of him, but at the same time noted that when drunk or on drugs, he showed signs of an antisocial personality and displayed misogynistic behavior. Atkins mainly chose young, destitute women as victims, while he also targeted one middle-aged woman, Vicki Beasley Brown. His victims were often prostitutes or drug addicts. He would lure them to abandoned buildings where he sexually assaulted them. After strangling his victims, he would leave the bodies at the crime scenes, with some of them discovered months after their deaths. The first victim to be discovered was 31-year-old Debbie Ann Friday, found on December 14, 1991, after she had gone missing on December 8th. On December 30th, the body of 26-year-old Bertha Jean Mason was found. She had gone missing on December 11th and was last seen leaving her home and entering a store, after which she was never seen alive again. On January 3rd, 1992, while demolishing an abandoned house, workmen discovered the body of 36-year-old Patricia Cannon George, who had been put on a wanted list in early December 91 following a drug den bust within Woodward Corridor. On January 25th, the body of 39-year-old Vicki Relove was located. Like the other victims, she had been sexually assaulted and strangled. At the end of January, Atkins was arrested at an abandoned building and taken to the police station for interrogation. Due to a lack of evidence to prove his guilt and the murders, he was released. On February 17th, the corpses of 3 women were found in 3 separate rooms in the former Monterey Hotel in Highland Park. They were 34-year-old Valerie Chalk, 23-year-old Juanita Hardy, and an unidentified Jane Doe. The unidentified woman was identified by forensic genealogy in 2024, but her name was withheld by her family's request. Relatives of Chalk told police she went missing after she was put on a wanted list in early November 1991. On April 9th, the body of 38-year-old Brenda Mitchell was found in an abandoned house after she had gone missing 4 days earlier with her 2 kids to go to the store. Mitchell was found almost completely naked except for a scar wrapped around her neck. Her death was initially believed to be a drug overdose. A few days later, on the 15th, the partially decomposed corpse of 43-year-old Vicki Beasley Brown, who was last seen alive on March 25th, was discovered. On June 15th, the body of 40-year-old Joanne O'Rourke was found. Atkins was arrested on rape charges on August 21, 1992, after he was identified on a Detroit street by a 34-year-old Darlene Saunders, whom Atkins had assaulted in October of 1991. He categorically denied any involvement in the murders, claiming that he was homosexual. After further interrogations, the police officers familiarized him with the psychological profile they had compiled of the killer. After 12 hours, Atkins admitted to the murders of 11 women. He described in detail the appearance and clothing of the victims and even indicated the whereabouts of the 10th and 11th victims, 21-year-old Osina Waymer and 29-year-old Latanya Shawanda Smith. Their disappearances were not connected to the murders until Atkins' confession, and the bodies were found on the indicated place that same day. During the interrogation, Atkins said that the motive for the murders was his hatred of girls and women engaged in prostitution. He stated that he lured his victims into abandoned houses by offering them drugs and alcohol, in addition to paying for their sexual services. Contrary to the official version of the investigation, Atkins revealed that the first victim had actually been Patricia George, whom he killed in the fall of '91. Since no physical evidence could be found to incriminate him, Atkins was charged solely based on Saunders' testimony and his own confession. The trial began in January of '94. Around 150 people, including relatives of Atkins' victims, appeared as witnesses for the prosecution at the court hearing. At one of the hearings, Atkins confessed to the murders but claimed to be insane. For the majority of the trial, he did not react in any way to what was happening and appeared to be isolating himself from the proceedings. His lawyer asked for leniency towards his client on the grounds that Atkins had been abused as a child. According to the lawyer, the psychological trauma coupled with drug addiction and 3 days of eventually led to his mental, emotional, and behavioral problems. However, after a 4-month trial and 3 days of deliberations, the jury found Benjamin Atkins guilty, and in April of that year, he was sentenced to several terms of life imprisonment. After his conviction, Atkins was transferred to the Charles Igler Reception and Guidance Center in Jackson, but due to health issues, he was quickly transferred to Duane Waters Hospital, where he died on September 17, 1997 from an AIDS-related illness. And that's the sad story of the Woodward corridor killer, which, try to say that 3 times fast. I do want to point out, because this has come up on another video of mine, I don't care what they do for a living, they're still victims. We're not going to have conversations about, oh, they shouldn't have been doing this and they shouldn't have been doing that. People do what they got to do to survive. It's not my business to say that they should or shouldn't. My job is to deliver the story and tell you my thoughts and opinions on it. But we don't do victim blaming, and by pointing out what they did for a living and how they knew they were putting themselves in a bad situation and all that other shit is victim blaming, and we're not going to do that here. So if you could refrain from doing that, I really appreciate it, because going forward, if I see these comments, I'm just going to have to start banning people or blocking people. This channel is very big on no victim blaming. So please keep that in mind. As always, though, y'all have a good day, or the day you deserve, whichever comes first. Make good choices. Don't do anything I wouldn't do. Be cautiously kind to others, and I'll see y'all later. Bye.